A, B, C, D's with the S. ABCDs. Building blocks when we're starting to read. Begin with your ABCs. Well, what could it be that I'm talking about today? The ABCs. Advocate, advisor, builder, creator, developer. All of those are amazing things we do as women. Always doing. Advocating, advising, building, creating, developing. These are all great. But those are for other people, because we're always prioritizing everybody else. Or you could be like, well, she's a physician, so maybe it's the ABCDs, airways, breathing, circulation. Do we need a defibrillator? It's not that. Those are important ABCDs. But today I'm going to be talking about the other ABCDs, the things that I consider foundational building blocks for the best version of you. My name is Toyin, tfal, and I am a physician. I'm a wellness and career coach. I podcast. I wrote a really great book about thriving after divorce. And I love being in rooms with amazing women like you. And my goal when I meet with women and when I coach is to empower women to be the best versions of themselves. It's always great to admire people, respect them, respect their hustle, pick up their best practices, share tips. These are all incredible, but never to become her. It's to be the best version of you, because you are the superpower. You know, we talk about understanding our why and really leaning into our why, but we need to tap into the power of the who, right? The why is important, but the who is the magic. And so the ABCDs I'm going to be talking about today are not the ABCDs, airway, breathing, circulation, defibrillator. It's not the advocate, advisor, builder, creative, developer. These are all the things we are to others. It's about the things that help us be the best versions of ourselves. So my A is authenticity. B is boundaries. C is confidence. D is delegation. Those are our ABCD. And the S is not a little side thing. That's you, that's the self. So if you think about those building blocks on the shelf, if you don't have the bookends on the end, it's going to topple over. So S is not optional in this, right? So you can come up with other superpowers, but these are the things I'm going to talk about. And I don't see the timer anywhere, so I'm going to see if, all right, but I will keep to time in my 20 minutes. So like we said, authenticity. When we ask what does that mean in a small group, people are like, what does it mean to be an authentic person? That's you're genuine. You're showing up as you, not fake. You keep it real. You're aligned with your thoughts, your actions, your words. Why is this important? Because authenticity is so incredibly refreshing. When you've been around people who show up as themselves, you're drawn to them. It's incredibly important in personal relationships, in communication, in work, because when you show up as yourself, you're aligned. Sherry brought that up. And when you're aligned, it's a beautiful thing. When your thoughts and your words and your actions match, it's amazing. When they're unaligned for a lot of reasons, and we'll talk about why sometimes we can't lean into these things, but understanding that authenticity is such a superpower, and part of being the best version of you is something we need to seek to work towards. But to be able to stay as you have to know you. And that is where the deep work comes, to introspect. How many people do SWOT analysis for work? Figure out the SWOT board, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. If we do that for our careers and our businesses, how often do we SWOT ourselves? to say, what is my strength? What is my superpower? What are my weaknesses and how can I work on them? What are the opportunities that exist for me to get better and thrive? And what are some threats so I can figure them out? SWOT yourself. Because when you know you, you can do you, and you know exactly what you want, what you need, and more importantly, what you do not need or want. So authenticity, incredibly refreshing. The second is boundaries. Boundaries, when we think about that, we think about physical things that are put in place. When we have toddlers, we have boundaries to keep them safe. Put them in a playpen, then we put the chairs, things around the stairs. When we're nurturing new plants, we put boundaries around it so that the rabbits and everything else doesn't get to them, right? We think about physical spaces and boundaries. And sometimes we don't do well with boundaries because we think of them as trying to keep everybody else out, or what will people think? But if you think of boundaries as a way to nurture yourself, boundaries are about you, not anybody else. Boundaries are to keep the good part, to allow you to grow and thrive and take care of yourself. So if you're thinking about boundaries, well, what are they going to say? Well, this is about you nurturing yourself and protecting yourself. And when we talk about boundaries, we're not just talking about your physical boundaries. I think we're pretty good. We tell the kids body parts, don't touch, all of that stuff. Physical boundaries, but more importantly, are all the other boundaries. Your mental health, your time boundaries, your energy boundaries, like understanding those things and people that deplete you, that are toxic, that drain you, and putting boundaries around your time, your energy, your mental space, your emotional space, your social space. All of these things are important because it's not about being mean to other people, it's about being good to you. Boundaries are about you and doing the best to nurture you. Again, we're talking about her. She is amazing. C is confidence. Confidence is not, it's not just what you say. It's how you show up. It's how you feel. It's about how you step into a space, knowing that you are more than enough. You are worthy and deserve to be there. Just being, you are worthy and enough to be there. Confidence is showing up like, I did that. I got that. I will do that. I have been through that. And confidence comes in doing. Sometimes as women, we want things to be perfect. We overthink, we overanalyze, we want to be right on time before we do it. But think about so many times you have done things and done them. And that is what gives you the confidence. Because the confidence comes in the doing. If it's in your head, no one knows about it. It could be a beautiful plan. If it's not executed, it's a wish, it's a dream. The confidence comes in the doing, and the doing begets more confidence. So again, Shai brought it up, just do it. Because that is important. And confidence is something, again, that is super inspiring and something that is important for us to be the best versions of ourselves. And then the D is delegation. Delegation, because again, we talked about all those things that we do as women, right? We're advising, we're building, we're creating, we're nurturing, we're growing everybody, and we're doing it all. There's no way you can be the best version of yourself if you do not delegate. Even presidents and heads of places, nobody does it by themselves. I have sent a bunch of delegates to do that. So delegation is the art of having a task performed on your behalf by someone else. Delegating things within the home. Delegating things at work, delegating things so you have time for you. That is really important and a way to be the best version of yourself, because when you delegate, you have more time to work on you, you're preserving your boundaries, and you see that all of these things work together. The more you're delegating, the more you have time to think about things, you're showing up confidently, that's building you, and then you're putting in boundaries in place and seeing how they work. And then the S is self-care. We've talked about this, and I know there are probably sessions where you do all on self-care, but this is important to know that self-care is not a nice to have. It's not a would be great if I have time. Self-care is not optional. It is not selfish. It is a radical act of self-love. And you taking time out today is self-care. To be around other women, growing and nurturing yourself around other women, this is important. So a lot of times we talk about women, we're strong. And I like acronyms a lot. I think it's med school. You have to figure out how to remember all the 32 causes of lactic acidosis. But so self-care, we talk about strong women, S-T-R-O-N-G. If I asked you to think about how you describe women and strong, she is selfless, right? She is selfless because she's always doing stuff for everyone. T is she's tenacious. She doesn't give up. She will do anything for everyone. R is she's resilient. How have we heard that? Women are so resilient, right? O is she organized. N, she never gives up. G, she is giving, she's generous. So if you think about all those things, there's nothing wrong with that. Being selfless and tenacious and really being there and resilient and organized and never giving up and giving. That's all great, but these are all for everybody else. So I challenge us to think about the other strong, which is really important. You're a woman, you're all of these things, but you also understand that self-care, right? Your S. Self-care is important. You know that you take time to rest. That's the T. You take time to rest. R is that you understand that relaxation is not something that is optional, and that's something that you need to do. That's your R. O is that you are open to accepting help when it's offered. N is that you negotiate for what you want and what you need because you know you enough. And G is that you guard your time and your space and your energy. So yes, you can be selfless and practice self-care. You can be tenacious and take time to rest. You can be resilient, but also know that relaxation is not optional. You can be organized to the max and still be open to help. You can never give up and keep going, but you should also negotiate for what you want. And yes, you can be generous and giving, but you also need to guard your time and space, because if you are not well, no one else is. And that's important. So this part I'd like to ask by show of hands. Usually when I'm in a small group, I'll ask, what do you struggle with the most? So I know we probably are really good about all these things, and I know we can all do better with self-care. But if you could think about, by show of hands, which of these you can maybe do better with. I wouldn't say struggle with, because I'm a very positive person. Authenticity. Which one is the one you could do better with? Authenticity, show of hands. Boundaries. Confidence, delegation, self-care, we can all do better. All of us can do better on that one. And I can tell you when I've done this, those two, boundaries and delegation, are a lot that women struggle with. And the more responsibilities we have, the more we struggle with those things. So I'll go very quickly about why we struggle and what are things we can do. Authenticity is something that, why do we sometimes not show up our full selves? Because two things fundamentally that everyone deserves and wants is really love and respect. When we boil down to all the conflicts and things that we go through, it boils down to those things. A lot of times we may not show up as our true self because we worry, am I going to be loved and or respected? Think about it. For work, why we don't show up, for relationships, personal stuff, it boils down to those two. And again, really just knowing that you are more than enough, and working on that is one of the ways that we can continue to do that. Boundaries is one I saw a lot of hands up, because we're so used to being all those things we talked about. And if boundaries are new, boundaries are really not very well liked by people who don't have boundaries, right? Second of all, if you've never practiced boundaries and now you're showing up, they're going to be like, she thinks she's all that. Yes, you are all that, actually. It's okay. You are all that. And when you set those boundaries is to be consistent and make sure there's not a boundary creep, right? Like if you say it, stick with it. Because again, once you know why you're doing it, this is about me being the best version of me. And for the people, you don't have to explain your boundaries to everyone. They don't all deserve it. For the people who you care and love and who are part of your life, You might tell them with your children. I had very clear boundaries. Children, with your parents, and people who think that they have access to you unfettered. Even your parents do not. Everyone deserves their boundaries. Explain to them and then be consistent. And the more you practice it, some people will fall out. All good. They weren't meant to be there. And keep consistent with your boundaries and just know that that's important for you. Confidence comes with the doing. Start it, do it, celebrate your wins. Remember those things that you've overcome, and that builds that confidence for you to go. And then delegating. Start small. If you have kids or grandkids in the house, let them do stuff. They may fold the laundry a different way, load the dishwasher a different way, let your spouse do it. It's okay. It doesn't have to be your way. Delegate. Because that is so important, because it shows that, one, you know that you don't have to do it. Two, you have the network. And three, you're empowering somebody else. When you delegate and let somebody else do it, you're actually empowering somebody else to do something that they wouldn't have tried. It's important. And then the self-care, we can all do better. Not just your physical, but also how self-care is important to you. For some people, it's spas and relaxation. For some people, it's quiet time. For some people, it's vacations. But it doesn't have to be what your friend does. Know yourself well and know what's important to you. And then I'll close with divorce. If there is a time that shatters those things, it's going through a divorce. I went through a divorce 20 years ago, and I was divorced for 15 years with 2 young kids, 6 and 7. So if there is a time where you're like, try not to show up at yourself because you're figuring out, well, myself is, look at me now. People are judging you, people are talking about you, you're trying to figure out authenticity, how do I show up? It's a time to practice that and just keep saying, you know what, I am more than enough. That was something that happened, it does not define me. I was a wife. However, I am a lot of other things. I am this, I am a woman, I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a sister, I am a being, all of those things, and I was this. That failed, I didn't fail. My life is going on. Boundaries, nothing like divorce to have people everybody has an opinion and advice for you. It's important to keep your boundaries during that time. Continue to show up confidently. Yes, your marriage failed, but there's so much more to life before that. And it's an opportunity to delegate and really do things for yourself. And always remembering that your self-care is not optional. It is not a nice to have. It is a need to know. And what is my last part is, as you're going out and meeting with other fearless, amazing women, is to talk to yourself the way you hype up your best friend. A lot of times we are the PR and cheerleaders for, you're like, how about this, my friend? You're like, oh my God, she's this, she does this, she's stuff. And yeah, I'm just, talk about yourself the way you talk about that best friend who you can't wait to hype her up. You're like, oh my God, my friend. Talk to yourself like that. And when you meet other women during that networking break and you're talking about, introduce yourself and talk about what your superpower is. We all have many superpowers, but I hope that you're taking away today that yourself is the bookend of all of these things. You are more than enough, and you have overcome so much. You're fearless women, and really working every day on those ABCDs. Showing up as your authentic self because you are the superpower. Maintaining boundaries, because boundaries are about making sure you have time and space to grow and thrive. Showing up confidently, because every day we're alive and navigating this space is a victory for all the things we have overcome. Delegate, because even if it's not done perfectly your way, you're empowering people to learn how to do things. And never, ever take yourself for granted. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with all of you. And thank you for being amazing, fearless women and letting me share this time and space with you. Thank you.